So today we are doing a get ready with me. I am leaving the house, which is a kind of once a week affair. I am going to get a tattoo, so it doesn't need to be the most extravagant makeup, but I do want to have a little bit of fun. So stick around, see me improvise, see what you think. Thanks guys, see you in a bit. Hello chaps! So, I am leaving the house today, which is a rare enough occasion for me to warrant making a video about how I'm going to get ready. So let's go for it. First off, I'm using the Maybelline Baby Skin in Warm Apricot, so that's the fatigue blur stuff, which someone with chronic fatigue syndrome, you know, we could always do with having that fatigue blurred, so let's see if it actually does the job or not. I'm just sort of rubbing this in fairly haphazardly. As ever, there's very little rhyme or reason to anything I do. It smells a lot like acrylic paint, which I kind of love because it reminds me of doing GCSE art. Next I'm using the Body Shop Moisture Foundation in shade 2. It's got SPF in it, which, you know, may be slightly pointless in the UK, but protection is always a good thing. Remember that, kids. So just pumping a pump onto the back of my hands. Taking this rather beautiful brush, the Lottie base brush, I think, something like that. Close enough. Close enough for cricket. I basically tend to use these flat paddle type foundation brushes for getting the product that went in my mouth. For getting the product on, and then I'll blend it out a bit later. Looks like I need a bit more. I'll blend it out a bit later with a beauty blender, but I'm a bit lazy and this tends to be the quickest way for me to actually get foundation onto my little face. I used to use basically a buffing brush, but I have incredibly dry skin and eczema, which also affects my face, and buffing brushes aggravate the skin if you've got sensitive or very dry skin. So using a flat paddle brush and just sort of being quite gentle and just stroking each area in a single direction, that tends to leave your skin a little bit happier if you've got skin like mine. And that's the end of that story. That'll do. So taking my damp-ish, fairly damp, it was damp, it's now kind of, I don't know, X-damp. I'm gonna just bounce it all over my face and just blend out any bits that have little brush marks or any of that kind of junk. By the way, I'm going to apologise for the sound quality. I have a microphone, but I have a microphone to use while recording, but I need an adapter to use it with my phone. So sorry for it. Right, next up I'm taking some lavender concealer. It's just a cheap one. It's the W7 Go Corrective Concealer in Lavender. I'm just going to pop it under my eyes. For years I tried to use yellow under my eyes, but I've got this kind of neutral leaning to warm skin tone, and it just ended up with me looking a bit jaundiced, which, you know, I mean, that's a look. It just isn't necessarily a look I want, so there it is. I'm literally just using my finger and patting this across and kind of going up my cheekbones as well, because as I said, I've got a slightly yellow-ish undertone, although I am more of a neutral base than a warm one. This just brightens up that area a little bit. Next up, I'm going to take Time Balm Concealer by The Balm in shade Light Medium. This is a pretty good... Where's my concealer brush? What have I done with my concealer brush? It's a mystery. Okay, so my concealer brush has been found. It's the Royal & Langnickel Silk Pro Flat Concealer Brush C230. And I'm literally just going into the pot, picking it up and going to go over where I put the lavender stuff. I'm also going to get it in various places where I'm just looking a bit red or tired or not the right colour, essentially, for the rest of my face. So under here is usually a little bit inflamed, and around my nose I have a very, very, very sensitive and dry T-zone. It's my biggest problem area of all my skin. So yeah, I'm just gonna get those little bits. And once again, I'm going to go in with the beauty blender and just bounce it out and get it to look sort of a bit more reasonable, I guess. Okay, that's genuinely as much as I can be bothered to do. I'm going to set my under eye with the Real Techniques setting brush and MAC's Prep and Prime transparent finishing powder. So that's all set, more or less. What should I do now? Yes, contour. So for contour, I'm picking up Benefit's Dallas, which is a kind of fairly matte taupey colour. Got a little bit of a pink undertone. And I'm picking up my Spectrum tapered brush thing and just kind of swirling it about in there. Tap and blow. Take that however you want. Doing the stupid fish face actually helps, personally. Maybe not for everyone, but... So I'm just sweeping on just under my cheekbone, not so far under that it's going to make my face droop. I've got a really long face and a very narrow face, so what I really need to do is make it look wider. Although I do like to emphasise the angularity of my face. Femininity isn't necessarily what I'm aiming for, seeing as I am not female, so I'm gonna just do these bits here, my jawline, get a good bit under there, a little bit on my forehead to try and, again, de-lengthen it, shorten it, that's the word I was looking for. A little bit in my temples, yeah, and I mean that's alright for the time being, that'll do for now. Then I'm going to pick up this sleek blush in the shade Pomegranate, which is 923. It's this really lovely, shimmery, bright, sort of plummy fuchsia, so I'm going to use it very sparingly on this gigantic. It's a knockoff Real Techniques brush. I think it was like £1 or something. Just a nice generic synthetic sort of blush brush. Beggars cannot be choosers when it comes to these sort of things. I'm just sweeping just above where my contour went. One sec, that is the door. Sorry, the postman arrived. So, I slightly overdid it on that side, so I'm just going to blend it out with this slanted kabuki brush from the Body Shop, which is something I've had for a very long time and I kind of love. It's very dense, very soft, and it does the job well. I'm going to do the other side and hope I don't overdo this side as well, though I inevitably will because I don't understand the concept of too much. Okay, yeah, that was slightly better. Still going to blend it out a bit though. Normally I also contour my nose, but I really can't be bothered today. I'm going to take the Dainty Doll blusher in shade 1. Now this is a incredibly pale sort of lilac-y, shining at you, lilac-y lavender. And as I've said before, I have slightly yellow undertones, so I sometimes use this as a highlighter and it just neutralises and highlights certain areas without being too shiny and keeping things quite matte, which I enjoy. I don't think I've picked the right brush for the job. It's another knockoff Real Techniques brush, but you know, it's fine. It's not going to completely ruin everything. Literally just picking up the little bits of my face that I want less yellow and more highlighted. The last bit of my sort of face stuff I do is I've got a couple of freckles that get kind of half covered up by the foundation and junk, so they look a bit weird and ghostly, and I'm going to pick them out with the waterproof eyeliner pen by e.l.f. and this is in the shade Coffee. So there's one there, there's one just up here, and then there's one down here. There we go, and then to just make them look a little bit less stark, I just slightly bounce the beauty blender on them, and job's a good one. Aces, right. Next up are my eyebrows. I do not have very good eyebrows, I'm afraid. Oh, my shirt's doing that funny thing again. Ugh. There we go. Yeah, I don't have great eyebrows. They're a bit awkward and they're very sparse, so bear with me with this, it might take a while. I'm going to brush them up with a spoolie brush, just trying to get them to sit in a slightly more agreeable fashion. Next I'm taking the NYX Tame and Frame Brow Pomade thing, and this is in the shade 4 Espresso, and I'm also taking the silicone liner brush from Real Techniques. I do not have the thickest eyebrows, and if I overfill them they look really, really bizarre, so having something this precise is really, really handy. I like to have a really defined tail, because I basically don't have a tail to my eyebrow at all, so I told you you'd have to bear with me, so cotton buds are my best friend. There we go, that's a bit tidier. Once the tail has been done, I'm just going to draw some little teensy weensy hairs back into this side. It gets really sparse through the middle here. I have sort of these weird, very dark eyebrows, but they really focus in on the middle of my face, which is not massively helpful because I have very close set eyes anyway. So altogether, this is not an ideal situation. I don't want too much of an arc because, again, as I said before, my face is very long, and an arc makes the face longer, straighter across, sort of splits the face in two and makes it look a bit shorter. So that's the theory anyway. Over the top I am taking the e.l.f. Wet Gloss Lash and Brow. There's too many words in that name. Basically just clear brow mascara. And I'm just going to set this little bastard in place. Hopefully it doesn't wander off across my face. That is the hope. Right, time to do the other side. So normally I would conceal my underbrows, that bit there anyway. But again, I really can't be bothered. I am getting a tattoo, so I'm going to be face down for most of it because it's on the back of my legs. So too much makeup will probably be slightly ridiculous. Okay, right, eyebrows. Done. Next up, it's the epic task of eyeshadow. Before I do that, I am going to spray a little bit of the NYX Matte Finish setting spray because I don't want this whole situation to smear and blah blah blah. So I'm going to take some Urban Decay Primer Potion and put it across my eyelids. Okay, primer on, eyelids looking slightly strange. I don't know why I do such strange faces when I'm doing my eyeshadow. You can understand it for mascara, but for eyeshadow it's really odd. So I'm going to take some of the e.l.f. Long Lasting Lustrous eyeshadow. Do you know, I haven't got a clue what this shade is, but it's this really nice kind of metallic purple aubergine colour, or eggplant if you're from somewhere else in the world. Again, I'm just taking my little eensy finger and I'm going to put that across the whole situation. It's not a huge deal if I make a mess because more eyeshadow is going on top of this, and also I've got cotton buds which are incredibly helpful in situations with creamy products. That sounded really filthy, didn't it? Okay, so now I have a bit of a black eye look going on, which, you know, could be what I was going for. You don't know. I'm going to take the Lime Crime Venus 2 palette, which I really love. You pick up the colour Marsh, which is this really nice kind of pearl olivey khaki sort of shade, and I really like the way it looks over purple. It becomes this really interesting sort of gunmetal grey sort of thing. You may argue that it looks incredibly muddy. You probably would not be wrong, but I'm okay with that. I've just taken this big fluffy synthetic brush and I'm just covering basically the outer edges of my eyes. And blend that with, what brush am I going to blend it with? It's just this really big fluffy thing I got off Amazon ages ago, and which is actually one of my most helpful tools. So I think, you know, you don't have to always get the expensive things. I think this was about £2.50. Sometimes the cheap brushes do the job just as well. Okay, it's gone from looking like I have a black eye to looking like I have flesh necrosis. So, to pick that up a little bit, I'm going to take the shade Fly from the same palette, the E3 brush from MUA, again another cheap brand, another nice fluffy synthetic brush, and I'm just going to pat it across this half, the inner part of my eyelid. You might think, what's the point in having done so many layers, because I'm just going to cover all of them up. Well, you may be right. However, I think as a former art student, I think it can be really helpful to have several layers, as it gives more depth and tone to the finished shade that you end up on. Besides, I want to make all my eyeshadows feel as loved as each other, which, you know, is important. We have feelings. Now I'm going to take the Meet Matte Nude palette, which is a really nice, massive palette from The Balm. What am I going to get? I'm going to pick up this Delium Tools brush, number 776, and the Matte Abdul shade, which is this nice kind of taupish grey, and I'm going to use that to just slightly fade the edge out of the darker side of the eyeshadow, because I am going to go back into the crease and add a bit more darkness. Wow, I sound like a Disney villain. Add more darkness. Rah! Maybe I am. So I'm going to blend that again anyway. I have been wiping off this brush in between, so I'm not just reusing all the old colours, I promise. Then using the same Delium Tools brush and the same Balm palette, I'm going to pick up Matte Malloy, which I always read as Matte Malfoy. I do love a bit of Harry Potter. And I'm just going to touch the edges of that grey, just to make it a little bit sort of more opaque, almost more blue in tone. I kind of like the effect that this gives. It's a bit weird and a bit ghostly, but so am I. Blendy, 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 same brush. I will use a different blending brush at some stage, I promise, but at the moment I'm kind of enjoying this one. It does its job rather nicely. Next up, I am taking a Body Shop eyeshadow brush and this little e.l.f. eye transformer palette. It's just loads of these shimmery pastel, sort of slight, very, very pale pastels. Very pale, in fact, you can barely see them, but they give a nice like hint of something to the eye. And I'm just going to pick up this slightly green toned one and go on my inner eye bit, just sort of above the tear duct and into the socket. So that's going to go and join up with the darker bit, the darker sort of grey shade that I blended earlier. It's starting to look a little bit dark and sad now. This is a Body Shop slanted eyeshadow brush, and I'm going in with Pigeon from the Venus 2 palette. It's this amazing duochrome sort of petrol teal black colour. Oh man, that was a really bad description. I'm literally just going to put it in the crease, really as precisely as I can, which, let's be fair, is not massively precisely, because, you know, precise is not what I do. Anyway, I'm going to keep going in, so it's going to fade around into the inner corner and into Fly, and it's just going to pick up the duochromosity of all the other shades, which I feel like is quite a lot of fun. I'm also going to take it and put it slightly underneath my eye, just beneath the waterline, and only to the halfway point. If I go too far in, my eyes will look increasingly small and close set, which is sometimes a look that I enjoy, but today I'm not feeling it. The final colour I'm going to use from this palette is Boot, which is this beautiful sort of, oh no, open, beautiful inky black with a slight navy side to it, and it's got lovely, lovely glitters just shimmering away in there like a little galaxy. Can you have a little galaxy? I'm going to pick it up on one of these Body Shop eyeshadow brushes again, and I'm just going to pat it on the very, very outside. Not quite going to the middle, so just the outer third, I guess, is probably the best way of putting it. Both eyes, because I want to match today. I think that's probably as even as I'm likely to get it. I promised another blending brush, so I'm going to pick this adorable little Tokidoki brush. I got it in a set from Boots, and I love it. I really love it. It's just fat and glorious and pretty. And that's kind of all I really want out of life, is fatness, gloriousness and prettiness. This side is definitely not even. I need more black on this side. There's never enough black, just in life, I'd say. So keep blending as much as you can, because frankly, it's hard to overblend, but it's quite easy to underblend. Clearly I am not a professional, and this is just a hobby, at least in part because I'm too ill to do any sort of profession, but also because I'm not good enough. Which I'm fine with, it's cool, but, you know, if I know that, then, you know, you should probably know it too. I'm just going to get a little bit more Fly on this little tapered, creasy brush and just pick it back out one last time, because I really want that inner corner to sing. I don't mind what song it sings, but, you know, it needs to be musical. That's all I ask. So I've got a blackish greenish thing going on, a bit Halloween, which, you know, I love. I'm all about it. Do excuse the rattling. I won't show you, but there's a horrible mess down here. I'm going to pick up this huge face and body brush from Body Shop just to get rid of any fallout, because fallout is a nightmare. I'm going to take this Super Cat sort of pen eyeliner thing from Soap and Glory and just do quite a delicate little line. Everything is black today. Just a tiny little wing, not a big one. Yep, that'll do. Same on this side. Okay, yep, that'll do for that. Now I have the Be Smoky eyeliner from B, which is a nice vegan makeup brand from Superdrug. I'm just going to go slightly over where I put Pigeon earlier, just to darken it up. And then I'm also going to go slightly on the outer waterline on both sides. And then I'm going to set it with more of Pigeon because I'm really feeling that shade very hard. Anyone who, like me, finds that eyeliner ends up sort of slowly drifting down your face like a very sad panda, setting it with eyeshadow is really helpful. What am I doing now? So I'm also going to pick up this slightly metallic-y green pencil, eye pencil from Barry M, and put that just on the inner waterline and slightly out to the tear duct to meet up with where I put the e.l.f. eye transformer earlier. This is incredibly subtle. In fact, I don't really know why I'm bothering to do it, but I like eyeliner, so who cares? Right, time to curl my eyelashes. So I am using the L'Oreal False Lash Superstar. That's the front, isn't it? Which is one of these double-ended mascara things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do my bottom eyelashes first, because doing the top ones first can mean that when you look down to do the bottom, it transfers onto your eyelid, which is a constant issue of mine. Right, so I'm taking the number one end first, which is this white primary stuff. So now I look like I have cobwebs for eyelashes, so I'm going to take the other side. It's got this cute little scooped end to tell you which edge you're supposed to use, which, you know, for idiots like me, can be mega helpful. I'm just wiggling it up the lash because I'm more interested in volume than length. I know that I'm never going to get huge length with my eyelashes, but I know they have a reasonable amount of volume already, so I'm just trying to amp up that aspect. Okay, so that's my eyes done. Next up, lips. So I'm going to start with the e.l.f. Lip Primer and Plumper. I'm going to go for the primer today. And yeah, it makes me look like I have the worst kind of concealer lips. But worry not, it is soon to be attended to. I'm going to take another e.l.f. product, which is the Lip Lock Pencil. It's sort of a reverse lip liner, stops things bleeding out. There we go, because I can't be bothered with real lip pencil. Next I'm going to take the Colourpop Ultra Matte Lip in Kapow. I think this is a metallic one, I don't know. Anyway, it's this really cute sort of slightly lilac-y taupe colour. I really love it, and it makes me feel a little bit, like a little bit goth, but without going the full hog. Also, I really suck at doing lipstick, so I apologise in advance for the abomination that this is going to be. As you can see, this is horribly uneven, so maybe that was self-fulfilling prophecy, but never mind, we'll get there. Okay, so that is on. Not perfect, but it is what it is. I'm going to do this weird thing that someone taught me, and it stops lipstick getting on your teeth, so... And see all that kind of gunk? You probably can't, but there's lipstick all around my thumb now, and that would have been on my teeth. So there we go. I'm going to let that set for a minute. Oh man, I forgot part of my eyeshadow. I'm just going to do a tiny bit of eyeshadow while this cools down. This is My Pretty Zombie loose eyeshadow in Homemade Death. It is an amazing, I can't open it, amazing sort of duochrome greyish blue. I'm I'm just going to take this tiny little brush from Pantone. I got it in a set as well. Pat the tiniest amount because I really don't want to get this into my eyelashes, but I'm sure I will. And I'm just going to put this in the middle here to slightly lighten it up so it's not quite as dark as the outside. I knew I was missing something. I should write a list really when I'm doing this sort of thing. Okay, so that's just like an eyelid highlight, I guess. Eyelid highlight? That sounds horrible. I don't know, that doesn't sound like a good sentence. Okay, so now my eyes are actually done. I have this little lip palette and it's just loads and loads of lipsticks that I've smushed down so I can carry them everywhere. And what I'm going to take is a little bit of Space Cake by Melt, which is this shade here, this kind of blue-grey. And I'm just going to go into the corners and just add that sort of slight ombre effect. It's a lipstick, but it does have a similar sort of matte feel as the Colourpop stuff, so it shouldn't be too texturally clashing. So there we go, that is as much of my face as I can be bothered to do today. A little bit more of the setting spray. I probably should do something with my hair, but I can't be bothered to do much, so just give it a quick brush with my little Denman handbag sized guy. And I'm going to take the Tony & Guy Casual Rough Texturizer Spray and just give it a bit of a... I'm sure that's not how it's meant to be used, but I'm fairly okay with how that's come out, so... Oh god, this shirt is not playing ball today. Good lord. I'm just going to take a couple of little bits of jewellery to spice this look up. This is a necklace from Bête Noire. I've got a few of these and I love them. This one says Rabbit, which is my sort of nickname, and I love it. This is a lovely little silver bangly thing that my brother got me for Christmas. I think it was Christmas. And I think it's from Pia Jewellery. And I think this one is as well. They're both sterling silver, which is my favourite metal of all time. I prefer it to gold, rose gold, platinum, white gold, any sort of gold really. I think silver is just so beautiful and fresh. I'm very lucky that I can wear both because my skin doesn't really reject either, if you know what I mean. Sort of tonally, it works quite well with any shade of metal. So that's my right wrist. And then on this wrist, I've got this little thing that also says Rabbit, so I'm going to be easily identifiable if I die today. And this beautiful little stone bracelet from my friend Hannah. Thank you for sticking around and hanging out with me today. I am going to go, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Toodaloo.